Welcome back to Mark Holloway's Vlog, everyone. Thanks for joining in on this beautiful day. I mean, look, we've got the sun shining. We've actually had a fantastic summer. I've loved it. Honestly, we spent a lot of time outdoors. Only downside is grass is burnt. Now we've got wasp nests because those little stingy things like the warm, dry weather. But outside of that, you know what? The weather's been absolutely fantastic and I really can't complain. So today seems like a great day to go for a drive, and I'm going to do something here that I've done in the past. Obviously, I've gone for a drive. We do a little car spotting. So let's do that today. It should be a lot of fun. Do some random driving. We're going to see some vehicles that are highlights, maybe interesting, maybe exotics, or maybe something that strikes a chord, a vehicle that maybe I've owned in the past. We're going to do a little driving along and just see what we find, and we'll talk about it. But before we do that, I also want to talk about some servicing that we did this week. That was something that was going on this week with the Mercedes Benz. Obviously, we've got the C300 here. We've been talking about selling it, and my wife really is motivated, right, Greta? See, so she's very, very excited to maybe sell it. Maybe we'll look at buying something else. Not sure yet. We're sort of sampling the market. But in doing so, we had to send the car in today, or this week, sorry, to get it serviced. There was a couple of recalls outstanding. I want to talk about that. Before we go for the drive, I want to share with you some of the things that they actually did on the car. Honestly, it was a great experience. The dealer treated us very, very well. We had the pickup, drop-off, shuttle. But either way, the Benz is ready to rock and roll. We're going to go for a spin in that. Like I said, do a little tour. And let's talk about some of the things that we did here at the dealer this week. So there we are, the C300. We've got a 4-banger turbo engine. Obviously, everybody knows about that. Not a big shocker. It is quite a fun little car. Like, it does strike the balance of, you know, style, luxury, but also somewhat economical to own because of the 4-cylinder. We actually had the A service. They call it the A service because it's pretty standard. They did the oil and oil filter change on this. They also did the air filter. So the air box, that was changed. I believe there was a particulate filter of some sort they changed in there as well. That was part of it. But unfortunately, something came up in a code that told them that the spark plugs needed to be changed. Like, it didn't have a misfire. There wasn't anything going on. There was no CEL, but there was something that told the dealer, and they didn't really explain. There was something that told them that we needed to upgrade the spark plugs. So they actually did that outside of the normal standard A service. So it's got new spark plugs. We've got oil, filter, and air filters and all of that good jazz, but they also did the recalls, part of it being the charcoal canister. Well, the way they wrote it in the notes, and I'm not too familiar with this car, but I'll tell you right now, they said they had to pull the right rear wheel off and peel away this actual plastic in there. They had to peel that away to gain access. Apparently, that's at least the way it was written up in the documented notes, that they had to access that. It spits out a number, and they had to do an inspection on the charcoal canister or some sort like that. Anyhow, that's apparently something that they were looking at. The other thing was the backup camera, which again, it's a recall that suggests that maybe at times the backup camera won't operate as needed. And this is the backup camera tucked in there. It flips up when you put the car in reverse. Obviously, that's something that was identified apparently and was taken care of. So there was a bit of an upload. I think it was more of a software update than anything else. And so all this A service and this extra spark plugs and all that other jazz cost us net $0. So $0 out of the pocket, other than a couple of dollars to drive the car out to the west end of the city. It was really no cost to us to get this all serviced. So it's great. It was a great day, and the car's ready to rock and roll. Should be good whether we keep the car or whether the next owner takes advantage of it. The car is ready to rock, and everything else was noted. Perfect. Brakes, tires, everything was good. So the car is running like new. Perfect. And there we have a Cayman. That would be an older generation Cayman. Essentially the Boxster coupe. I've always had a soft spot for those cars too, just because they're kind of a simpler car from a simpler time, mid-engine. They're a lot of fun. I've always really enjoyed a Boxster, or, you know, any of the variations now that they've got 718s. You get the coupes, essentially the Caymans and the Boxsters are a lot of fun. And again, you know, some would argue they're better than a 911. The only problem with those is, of course, Porsche didn't put the biggest, baddest engines. And personally, I would look at a GT4. If I was going to buy a Cayman, I'd probably look at a GT4. But those older ones are nice because they're simple, they're low cost, and, you know, reasonably reliable. A lot of fun to throw around on the track too. And there's another car right there. You've got to love the new BMW. I would say the M8 right now, what we have there. We have a convertible. Rumor has it, even though they are an amazing car, that uses the same drivetrain as what you find in the M5 competition. So well over 600 ponies. It's a great drivetrain. Beautiful car, well made. But the sad part is, rumor has it that BMW's turfing that model. They're looking at getting rid of the M8, possibly getting rid of the M8 Coupe and convertibles. They might keep the Grand Coupes because the 8 Series is a premium car, hard to sell. They don't sell a lot of them, and they have to start sort of juggling where they put the chip shortages. Obviously, they need those chips elsewhere into models that are selling in more frequency. So sadly, it sounds like maybe the M8 cars might be disappearing for at least for a while. That's a sad thing, because with well over 600 horsepower, that thing is a great car. I've driven them, a lot of fun. They absolutely feel luxurious with that massive torque thrust that you get from that engine. That S63 is absolutely a beast. So it's a sad day to see some of these car companies having to get rid of some of their premium high performance cars. And there's another one, kind of an old classic. We have a Mazda RX8. That's got sort of the, I guess you'd say, the suicide doors on it. Now that's got the twin Wankel rotor engine, and they're not known for their durability. Those engines, if you get 60,000 miles or 100,000 kilometers out of them, you're doing well. They just don't last. They're not built that well. It's the apex seals wear out prematurely. And quite honestly, even with decent maintenance, they often don't last that long. So a little disappointing. Now, what it does do is bring back to the old days. I had way back a 1988 Mazda RX-7 GX. Also had the twin Wankel engine. And my car was really, like, it was a great car, 146 horsepower. Seemed very strong at the time, but now we all laugh with 146, 150 horsepower is nothing nowadays. But I used to really love that car. And then you can get a turbo as well that had 200 ponies. And then they brought in that twin turbo, which is 255 horse, twin turbo Wankel. Those blew apart all the time. And there are some YouTubers now that are highly modifying, RX-7 twin turbos. They're very popular in the race circuits, especially in the drag circuits. They can add a lot of boost to them. I don't know if they last a long time, but certainly they're a relatively simple engine, and they're classic, they're vintage. But here's an RX-8. This was the last attempt at the Wankel engine. Mazda no longer makes them. Not sure they're a particularly great engine. Like I said, I had the 88. It was great for me, but I also sold it before 80,000 kilometers, so who knows. But that's another one. Remember way back in the day. So there's another car, actually kind of one of my favorites. Right over there, we have a Dodge Challenger. I also like the Charger as well with the 4 doors. Now, you don't buy those cars because of their crisp build quality. No, in fact, Tupperware and Glad Garbage Bag is sort of the theme for the interior finishing of those cars. But it's not about that. It really is about the drivetrain. And I would say stay away from the V6s. Stay with the V8s. And my personal favorite is the Hellcat with over 700 ponies, 6.2 liter V8 supercharged power. Those things are absolutely magnificent. If you want straight line performance and raw power, that's what you get with the Challenger. Personally, for precision, the GT500 is a great option with the Ford. Personally, I like the ZL1 1LE from the Camaro. Much better car from a precision standpoint. Doesn't quite have the power. You can get the Corvette 650 horsepower V8 supercharged. It goes like a bat out of hell. The beauty is with the 1LE is it's got the race slicks, and you can also get the carbon fiber wing. You got the slick magnetic suspension. You can also get all the other goodies, like there's some lightning, and of course the rear seats, and the glass is thinner, and it's truly more track focused. And you can get a stick shift, a manual gearbox with it, so it makes it ultra fun to drive. And now there's a car that's really near and dear to my heart. It's because it's the BMW 335. I had one of these, the N54 powered. Obviously it's a hot rod car, very tunable, but I guess you could say it's very polarizing, because I had one of these, and mine was a coupe, which was the 2-door. I had a 6-speed manual gearbox. Mine was silver. It wasn't a convertible, and it was a lot of fun. In between engine codes and check engine lights, there was always something going on. So it was a fun car to drive, but it was always something that you had to fix: a coolant leak, water pumps. I know I had the wastegate rattle. Sometimes you get the rattling noise there when the car is stopped, or turn it off, you get that last little rattling noise. Lots of issues. I already had the fuel pump upgraded and the injectors, so there's always something going on with the N54 powered 335. But I did love driving it. When it did run, it was absolutely a blast. And I know you see it all over the internet, guys that are tuning those. They come stock with 300 horsepower, 3-liter inline, 6-cylinder engine, twin turbos, makes a ton of power. Even 300 horse stock is fun. But there's people boosting these up to 7, 8, 900 horsepower. That's right. Although you're usually going single turbos with that, and the large intercoolers, and sometimes meth injection as well. JB4 tune is the one I had with mine as well. And I would say, call me a little corny, a little cheesy, but the little smart car, I've always had kind of a, I don't know, I've always really thought they're kind of neat, right? I mean, they're cheesy a little bit. Certainly they get decent fuel economy. The earlier versions with the diesels were really good because they had something like 89 miles per gallon was the rating. And then they put in the gas jobbers that knocked the fuel, the mileage down drastically. And of course, it wasn't quite the same car, so you wanted to get the earlier diesel versions. But I always thought that'd be kind of fun to rip around on these. Great commuters, and even better, have you seen those videos where these guys converted and they put a turbo Hayabusa motor in that car? And those things just rip on donuts, and you get two wheels, you can almost do wheelies. And I just thought, you know what? Low cost to buy, easy to modify, why not make a fun little toy out of it? So I always thought they're kind of cute looking. My first experience was when I saw one of these in Europe. I was in Europe piles of years ago. When my first experience, when I saw them there was a lot of them around there. And that's when I first noticed those. And then we came back to North America, and it wasn't long after then they started showing up here. And so I definitely gained a bit of an appreciation, because in Europe they didn't look like a really small car. They look like an average sized car, but they're pretty cool. The smart car, gotta love them. And by the way, it's been very, very busy on the other channel, Exotic Car Play Place. If any of you are familiar with that channel, then you'll know that I'm very busy. We're producing a lot of videos there. And honestly, it's really, really motivating to see a lot of you guys reaching out, commenting. It's very, very exciting. So I've been very busy constantly. Exotic Car Play Place, and of course the vlog here, Mark Holubitz. It's great. It's a lot of fun, and it's great to stay engaged with you folks. But outside of that, I just want to thank each and every one of you for your support, and as well for those that maybe aren't necessarily a regular on the channel. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button over there. I'd love for if you join and stop by another time, maybe ask some questions. Maybe there's something you'd like to know. Again, we're still shopping for the next supercar. Not sure yet what that is. There's a lot of potentials out there, and a few new ones that I haven't really considered. So we're looking around. And as well, unfortunately, latest update on the F-Type is we're still waiting on those performance parts. Remember, we talked about upgrading some parts on the Jag. They're still not here, still waiting. So either way, be sure to come back next time, and I hope to see each and every one of you on the flip side. Catch you real soon. Bye-bye.